What's going on YouTube? Thomas L here with the new TV reboot of Charm out now on CW and with the Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina premiering this week and with the remake of Suspiria which is opening Friday. Since all three films do include since two shows and one film or include witches, I decided to do my top 10 favorite witch based movies because there's been loads of interesting witch movies in the past. So, with that being said, here's my top 10 list. Coming in at number 10 is the 2013 film Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. This movie is actually loads of fun. It's more of a guilty pleasure, but I really had a fun time watching this. You've got Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton as Hansel and Gretel, who are now slaying witches. Because if you remember, they were almost eaten by a witch when they were young. So now they're all grown, and this time they're pretty much killing witches. And it has like a Resident Evil feel to it, but instead of killing vampires, they were killing witches. It's such a fun movie. Famke Janssen actually plays the villain in this, and she was awesome. I mean, for for every reason, if you guys have not had a chance to check out Haunted and Ground Witch Hunter, do yourself a favor and get on it because it's a real blast. Too bad they never decided to go ahead and do a sequel to this because I would love to have seen a follow up. All right, coming in at number 9 is the Blair Witch Project, which got released in 1999 and it's pretty much about like film students who vanish after traveling into a Maryland forest, and they document on the local Blair Witch because the Blair Witch is like a legend, and they're trying to catch like footage of it, and it's a really creepy movie. The first Blair Witch is good. Same can't be said about the sequel, the one that got released like a couple years ago. I think it was in 2000 something. Let me early 2000s. I think 2004. Who cares? It was called Book of Shadows, and it's not a good sequel. Like it's the one that came out last like a couple years ago in 2016, Blair Witch. That was okay, but still not as good as the first film. The first film is where it's at. It was like the earliest found footage movie, and it kind of set off that found footage horror genre that we're having with a paranormal activity and all. And the witch in this is creepy. If you guys haven't seen Blair Witch, give it a go. And my God, it turns 20 next year. Won't feel old. All right, coming in. All right, coming in at number 8 is the 1998 film Practical Magic, which was directed by actor Griffin Dunne and is also based on a book. The two leads in this are played by Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, who play witch sisters who are raised by their aunt in a small town. And the aunts here are played by Stockard Channing and Diane Weiss. We had a young Evan Rachel Wood in this. Practical Magic is a really cute and charming little fantasy adventure film. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman was amazing as witches. The other cast was good. This movie like turns. Wait, yeah, this movie just turned 20 this year, and I think it still holds up. If you guys haven't seen Practical Magic, I highly recommend it. It's a really good witch movie worth checking out. All right. Coming in at number 7 is another movie that turned 20 this year, and it's actually not really a director release film or anything, but it's a childhood classic, and that would be the Disney Channel original movie Halloween Town, which of course had the late great Debbie Reynolds, Kimberly William Brown was in this. What a classic children film this is. I mean, if you guys grew up in the '90s, you probably have seen Halloween Town. This is classic Disney Channel movies. I mean, the Disney Channel original movies are okay now, but back in the days with stuff like Halloween Town, these were the Disney Channel original movies, and Halloween Town is no different. It's a childhood classic. If for you guys want to check out a good like kids Halloween film, definitely give Halloween Town a go. It's a good one. All right, coming in at number 6 is Chronicles of Narnia, which starred Tilda Swinton as, which of course starred Tilda Swinton as a witch. Now she's also in the new Suspiria remake. So I guess she has the thing of being witches now. I'm actually gonna go with the first Chronicles of Narnia because I think it's the better out of the bunch. Now, Tilda Swinton here actually played the White Witch. I always keep forgetting the actual character's name, but it's been a while since Chronicles of Narnia. So now I remember hearing about them like Netflix doing a Chronicles of Narnia series. I would actually be down if they get Tilda Swinton back. That would be cool to see. Because Tilda Swinton actually really made this role work perfectly. This character could have easily gone very cartoony, but Tilda Swinton made the character work, and yeah, I believe she appeared in the other Chronicles of Narnia movies, and she's a really good actress for this role. And if they decide to bring the White Witch back again in the Netflix planned series, it'll be hard to top Tilda Swinton's performance. All right, coming in. All right, coming in at number 5 is actually a fan favorite, and that is 1990's The Craft. The Craft is a '90s horror classic. Where teen girls practice witchcraft in their high school. Come on, it. Now lots of people who grew up in the '90s probably have seen The Craft. It's a good witch movie. I mean, it had a pretty interesting cast in this. Like who was in this? Robert Tunney, Fariza Buck. I miss her. I hope she makes some sort of comeback. Buck was always awesome. Breckin Meyer, Nave Campbell, Skeet Ulrich. Such a really good cast, and The Craft is seriously a creepy film. I remember hearing words about like a remake of The Craft in the works. It'll be hard to top the original because the original is just a classic. I mean, if check out The Craft, it's really terrific. All right, coming in at number 4 is another '90s classic. Coming in at number 4 is The Witches. Now, this is based on a book by Roald Dahl, or as cinemas since called him, Creepy Dr. Seuss. And Angelica Houston plays one of the witches in this. Oh yeah, Rowan Atkinson was also in this. The Witches is another '90s classic. It's it's really stylish. It's really creepy. Angelica Houston was pretty creepy in this as well. This is definitely a nice '90s children's film worth checking out. Now, I remember hearing words about a remake of The Witches. I think Robert Zemeckis is doing that. It'll probably be hard to top the original because the original is a nice classic. All right, coming in at number three. All right, coming in at number three is an '80s classic, and that will be 1987's The Witches of Eastwick. Now, the leads here are played by Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer. And the male lead is played by Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson is awesome. I miss seeing him on screen. I love to see Jack Nicholson make a comeback as well. Now, this film he did, The Witches of Eastwick, is an '80s classic. The movie is also based on a novel. I never read the novel, so I can't really compare the novel and the movie. And The Witches of Eastwick is like very comedic. It's pretty scary at times. The fancy elements cool. The three leads have really good chemistry on screen. Jack Nixon was, of course, he's Jack Nixon. He's always the best. I mean, if you guys haven't seen The Witches of Eastwick and you want to check out like interesting movies from the '80s, Witches of Eastwick is another interesting '80s film worth checking out. All right, coming in at number two is another '90s classic, and that would be Hocus Pocus. Boy, I think '90s was the year of witches. I mean, between with Hocus Pocus, The Witches, Blair Witch, Practical Magic, Halloween Town. Man, I think the '90s was just witch galore back in the days. Anyway, now Hocus Pocus. This is, I mean, anyone from the '90s could tell you how amazing this movie is. The witches here were played by the likes of Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, way before Sex and the City, and Kathy Najimy. And it was also directed by Kenny Ortega, went on to do High School Musical, countless other interesting films. Now, Hocus Pocus, like I said, it's a classic '90s tale. It's really spooky. It's loads of fun. It's really funny at times. I mean, check out Hocus Pocus if you haven't. And too bad they never went ahead and did a sequel. I would love to have seen a follow up to this, but God knows if that will ever happen. Maybe a remake down the line, but we'll see what happens there. But all I know is if they ever do a remake or a sequel, it won't be able to top the original. Because, hey, the original is a nice classic. All right. Now, coming in at number one, it's a no surprise. My number one favorite witch movie of all time is one of my all-time favorite movies, and that would be The Wizard of Oz. I mean, you can't do a best witch movie and not even think of adding The Wizard of Oz. I mean, The Wizard of Oz teaches you one thing: the way to kill a witch is with water. Spoiler for an 80-year-old movie, by the way. And Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch of the West is by far the best villain of all time. I mean, there's some of the best iconic villains you could say Darth Vader. You know, you could say Hans Gruber from Die Hard. But my favorite villain of all time will, of course, be the Wicked Witch. And what Margaret Hamilton did with the role was just perfect. I mean, she was even back in like I think the '60s or something. She was on Mister Rogers, and she came out with her witch outfit, and so the kids know that it was all just a make believe and all. I mean, she was a good sport when she was the Wicked Witch, and from the time she played the Wicked Witch until her silent passing, she really enhanced that role, and yeah, yeah, it's definitely one of the best witch portrayals of all time. Come on, she wants to get her ruby slippers back to Dorothy. If you really rewatch this movie, it's pretty much about two females fighting over his shoes. If you really look at the movie backwards. Anyway, back to the witch part and the makeup. Oh man, seriously, when I was a kid, that witch literally creeped me out. But Margaret Hamilton was just amazing as a role. But yeah, I mean, if for some ever reason, if you guys still have seen The Wizard of Oz, and I don't know a single soul who haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, but if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it for Margaret Hamilton's performance as the Wicked Witch. It's a shame she never scored an Oscar nomination. I always thought she was so perfect as a role. I'll be shocked if she did not score a win. I definitely know Wizard of Oz didn't win the Oscar because it lost to Gauntlet to win, but stuff happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my 10 favorite witch movies. Let me do the rundown. Number 10, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter. 9, The Blair Witch Project. 8, Practical Magic. 7, Halloween Town. 6, Chronicles of Narnia. 5, The Craft. 4, The Witches. 3, Witches of Eastwick. 2, Hocus Pocus. And number 1, Wizard of Oz. Now, there's a few other witch movies that came out in the past. Into the Woods is a good one. The Conjuring. Harry Potter, I could have added that one. Another Wizard of Oz movie, Oz Great and Powerful, with Mila Kunis and all as witches. Oh, there's not. Oh, Stardust is an underrated gem. Beautiful Creatures isn't really that bad. There are some pretty bad witch movies though. Season of the Witch, the one with Nicolas Cage, Vin Diesel's Last Witch Hunter was pretty terrible. The original Suspiria is a pretty good one. Bewitched wasn't all that good. But yeah, that's pretty much all. Let me leave it to you guys. What are your favorite witch movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Thomas L. signing off.